Eagles outlook. So, they just lost Super Bowl.
2-hour show.
And the Eagles are going to pay Jalen Hurts reportedly $50 million plus.
It's insane.
Big money.
So right now they're going to have a lot of free agents, 9 starters: Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, Brendan Graham, Javon Hargrave, James Bradbury, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Isaac Samalu, Kaiser White, T.J. Edwards, Miles Sanders, Marcus Epps. Not all of these guys are starters, but most of them are. And Shane Steichen is reportedly leaving to be the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, which means Brian Johnson, the current quarterbacks coach for the Eagles, will get promoted to OC. So what are your thoughts on the Eagles' outlook after losing? Because, you're losing a lot of players. You have to pay Jalen Hurts soon. They don't have a fifth-year option. Wasn't a first-round pick. It might be tough.
That was a question. Because I was thinking about this today when we were and I saw the topic list. Is there a world where Jalen Hurts is the type of guy to take a pay cut?
You would think so, but it's also going to be his first time. He's getting second-round money. He's making $1 million a year, maybe probably less, honestly, after taxes and shit. So maybe he gets his one contract here, get your $200 million. After that, take a pay cut.
He gives me very much the vibes that I do want to win. I want to succeed. I'm a team guy. I'm looking at the roster. We're missing some key guys. I'll take a pay cut to bring some of these guys back. I mean, there's some important guys on that list. Kelsey, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I think Miles Sanders can go. I think
he could be replaced.
Yeah,
he's easily.
Yeah, he's undoubtedly. Bradbury would be tough, but I think you can
Bijan
find somebody else.
At 10, would you be stunned?
I would be very shocked at 10. At 31 or 30, wherever their last pick is, I wouldn't be shocked.
I mean, that's the beauty of it. With a lot of these guys, we have draft capital. So I think, you can draft another offensive lineman. Offensive lineman for them to fill is very easily.
Okay.
Like you can do that with ease. But guys like Jason Kelsey, you don't want to lose. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, you don't want to lose. Because now you really don't want to lose Bradbury because that's pretty much leaving your secondary naked. And you don't want to do that. Slay is getting up there in age, so you kind of want to keep those guys together. Even though the Super Bowl wasn't great, that's still a pretty good group that was Pro Bowl, all-pro talent. Samalu, I think, I'm not saying he's easily replaceable, but you can get another guy. They've pretty much drafted well on the offensive line. You can get another guy to replace him as long as you bring back the backbone and Kelsey. Cox, with the way our defensive line looks, I think you can let Cox walk. Yes, pardon me. You have to bring back Hargrave though.
Davis was drafted to replace Fletcher.
I think you should bring back Hargrave though. He's been really good, so I think you bring him back.
And Cam Jurgens was drafted
second round.
Yeah, I think that list isn't that bad when you think about the type of depth that the Eagles have. It's just about if Hurts is going to take that $50 million deal, but everything that he's shown me, I think he might take a pay cut.
If I'm Jalen Hurts, I'm sorry. You're giving me that $50 million. You're not thinking twice.
You don't want to win.
I don't think.
Is that what that means?
I don't think any player cares about that. I think they're going to just take the money.
Yeah, no, probably. Just hoping he's
all
that
it
guy.
has to do is
seems like that guy.
What do I deserve? And if I'm Jalen Hurts, I understand I deserve the most amount of money that you're willing to give me or what I'm allowed to be given. Jalen Hurts just had one of the better quarterback seasons that we've seen. Of course, we can say that Mahomes was better. He was the MVP, but there was a time where Jalen Hurts was the favorite to win MVP. And on top of it, he just had an MVP performance in the Super Bowl and gave his team a strong chance to win the whole thing. It's definitely deserved that Jalen Hurts deserves this $50 million a season. I'm with you, though, Riv. I understand where you're coming from. That's another reason why Mahomes taking the contract and him winning is insane because it rarely happens. We rarely see a quarterback take a substantial amount of money and win a championship. You understand that the Eagles are well constructed. They are well built. They have strong depth. They have draft capital that they can use real quick. I understand not wanting to take Bijan at 10 for the fact that these guys are free agents and you might not be able to retain all of them. But I feel like if you wait for 31, I doubt that Bijan's going to be available. But that's the only reason why I floated with it because what's wrong with adding more weapons, especially if it's Bijan? But when you have other holes that you might need to address, particularly now, if you just watch the Super Bowl, you might need to add some depth to that defense, no doubt, especially in the secondary. I think Bradbury will not be back. I think that Bradbury is going to want an unbelievable amount of money for the fact that he was just all-pro. Deservedly so, he should get that money, especially after the Giants just let him go and allowed the Eagles to pick him up. I think that he will get his money. I don't know if it will be I don't know if the Eagles will be able to bring him back on top of putting Jalen Hurts' $50 million cap hit involved with it as well.
Year after.
2 years.
2 years.
So then on top of that, also you do have Jason Kelce, who there's a chance he could retire, but at the same time, I think he understands how great this Eagles team is. He's going to want his money for maybe a 1, maybe 2 year max contract but that's more money that you have to worry on your hit. I don't think Fletcher will return for the fact that you did just draft Jordan Davis, but more importantly, the whole thing is to make Jalen Hurts happy, because for a season you let him sit. For the next season, he did play pretty well, but you weren't all too sure. This season, he put it all to bed. He was absolutely all world. He deserves his money. He just went to the Super Bowl.
So crazy.
It's tough, but when you're a dog, you deserve your money. It's simple. I'm all for
quarterbacks that's gotten $50 million.
Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes.
Dak is probably close to 50.
40 mil.
40?
44, 45 mil.
I just know that Deshaun's guaranteed money is 240.
Russ is probably going to be hitting 50 in a year or something.
I mean, like, Michael Thomas's cap hit is $60 million.
Yeah, well, that's because they kept
no
throwing it down
doubt.
the line.
They screwed up, but it's just understand that a guy, Michael Thomas, who obviously we understood when he was healthy, he was a savage. The cap hit can get to that. Jalen Hurts,
The Saints have a lot of
more valuable.
ways to
finesse that too.
Cap space, yeah.
60 mil. I'm sorry. How does that happen?
They be doing some shit. I don't know.
I am curious.
They
How does
do,
that
but
happen?
eventually it catches up to them, and it will. If it's not this year, and that's why they couldn't trade for Derek Carr.
Oh, we have their pick.
Well, Derek Carr said no, but I don't think they would have been able to make it work.
I think that they
financially.
didn't trade for Derek Carr because
Carr doesn't want to get traded. He wants to test free agency, play the market. I get that. I think the Eagles have a lot going for them. Number one is they have Howie Rosen as GM. He is arguably the best GM in all of sports. So, excuse me, not all of sports, but all in the NFL. So even if you do pay Jalen Hurts $50 million, I feel comfortable having Howie Roseman there, being able to find guys in the draft, in the first round and later rounds, and bargain free agents who either want to come for a Super Bowl or just finding value in free agency. I have faith Howie Roseman will be able to get that done. And then also, you're in the NFC, and obviously things can change very quickly in the NFL. But right now, the AFC, that's the conference that has everybody. They have all the star quarterbacks. They have the juggernauts of the Kansas Cities and the Bengals and the Bills and all of these guys. Trevor Lawrence coming up. So when I look at the NFC, it's really the Eagles for the taking for the next few years. Of course, you have the Niners there, but they have to figure out quarterback. You have the Cowboys, but, I mean, they're in your division for the most part. You've kind of had their number over these last few seasons. And outside of that, you're not really looking at a bunch of teams in the NFC unless they're able to go get a superstar quarterback and having a whole bunch of fear that you're not going to be able to get out of the NFC. The AFC is different because you just have to be super strategic with your money. You can't pay the wrong guys because if you pay one wrong guy, the margin for error is a lot smaller in the AFC, with all these top-notch quarterbacks. Of course, being a Jalen Hurts guy, I'm paying him. I have no problem doing that. I think he showed you he could have an MVP-type season and then showed you again in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl specifically, he could be the best player on the field when you're going up against Patrick Mahomes. And I think that holds a lot of weight in that front office because I'm sure they still had maybe small questions in the playoffs, especially those 2 games where he didn't do much that, listen, if you're going to get $50 million to a guy, you want to be 100% certain that he can do everything you think he can do. The fact that he was able to do that in the Super Bowl should put together any questions. Because even though I pull for Hurts, I understand the argument. He's on a loaded team with the best offensive line and 2 and 3 great weapons and a good coaching staff. And I understand all of that. So the fact that he was able to do this in the Super Bowl and really go toe-to-toe with Mahomes, who we are just making the debate might be the best quarterback of all time, goes a long way. So I think you pay Hurts the money and then just have faith in your front office, who has shown you year after year they could build a good roster.
I'm really interested in seeing Shane Steichen with the Colts. And I know this is off topic from the Eagles, but I'm interested in this because the Colts can draft a quarterback. And there's a quarterback that has a similar skill set to Hurts and Anthony Richardson that maybe they could draft very high. And Steichen has shown already with Herbert and Hurts that he knows how to work with young quarterbacks.
You think Stroud will be gone by that pick? Is that why you say Anthony Richardson?
I think Richardson has more upside than Stroud.
Than Stroud? Oof. I think Stroud already has shown more.
Yeah, no, Stroud's definitely shown more.
He's shown more, but Richardson,
if everything
I think,
hits
has
for
a
Richardson,
stronger arm. He's more
Stroud's
athletic.
arm's still great. I understand where you're coming from there. It's not like CJ's not.
Not like
Richardson.
Not Richardson. No, not like
Richardson. Is
Richardson.
different.
But for me, I feel like I'll take the accuracy now as opposed to having to wait on Anthony to develop that.
There's less
I feel it's a
projection
little bit
with
more of a
Stroud.
gamble, especially if you're going to take him early. take him earlier than CJ. I feel like it's safer for CJ. That's it. Go ahead.
My draft hot take is Bryce Young is going to fall.
Going to fall?
He's going to fall in the draft.
So he's not going to go number 1.
Mm-mm.
Who has a better chance to go 1, in your opinion, then? Bryce, CJ, Levis?
CJ.
Fucking hell.
You'll get it.
Levis.
I always screw that up. Is it
No.
Levis.
Levis?
CJ. If I'm drafting.
I'm sorry, say it again?
I think,
Number 1 overall, you would go CJ Stroud.
I just think historically, if you have seen quarterbacks that have, it's not the height that matters with Bryce Young. It's not that.
I know you're heightest, so
It's the weight. Bryce Young is 190 pounds.
he is.
The history of quarterbacks that have been that weight have been unsuccessful in the NFL.
How many of them are top 5 picks?
I don't know how many of them are top 5 picks, but also it's
How much is
Bryce,
Kyler
it's
weigh?
just the physicality standpoint
Probably
of
200.
if Bryce Young
More.
takes a bad sack, I mean, what's going to happen? You know, I mean, that's a real concern.
People had that same concern, different position about Smitty. You know, he's
Thinking the
165,
exact same thing.
and he's getting hit every play, and he hasn't. Has he missed a game these last 2 years? I don't think he
really.
has.
I don't know. He looked banged up in the Super Bowl though. He took a pretty. He
Yeah,
was
he's
he
good.
was
He got
taking
right
a
up,
pound.
But he
He
ate
got-
it.
he got right up.
Yeah, and he had a
He ate
great
it like
game.
a man.
Nah, yeah,
Grown
but
man.
he was getting
Oh,
right.
he's 170 pounds back. You know what I'm saying? He got
Soaking wet,
up.
170.
But I'm saying it's
He actually shrugged the shit off. Like,
you want to know what's
What's
different?
he on right now?
You want to know what's
Awesome
different between
Smitty.
that though?
Geyser.
Devontae Smith is getting hit by defensive backs. Bryce
Getting
Young,
by linebackers
That
too.
was a
Bryce
linebacker
Young-
that put him out.
Bryce Young's going to be getting hit by 250 plus pound men
Sure.
that are freakishly athletic, strong, and they're going to drive you to the
You
ground.
don't think Bryce can pack on weight though when he gets to the NFL?
I mean, it's definitely likely
Can.
impossible, and I think that's going to be something he's going to have to do.
I mean, that's what the coach should want him to do if they pick him.